Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I'm John, and today I'm here with the wonderful Mia. Mia, how are you doing today?
Hi, John. I'm doing really well, thank you. And first of all, I have to say I love your podcast voice. You sound way more professional than me.
Really? I appreciate that. But honestly, I think you sound great on podcasts. Your voice is very calm, and people usually enjoy listening to calm voices.
That's good to hear because I was actually a little nervous before we started recording.
Seriously? You don't look nervous at all. Well, you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you. And honestly, conversations with you are always easy, so that helps a lot too.
I'm glad to hear that. I think today's episode is going to feel very natural because we both genuinely like this topic.
Definitely. We were already talking about traveling before the microphones were even on.
Exactly. Sometimes I think the best podcast conversations happen before recording starts.
That's actually true. Sometimes we accidentally use all our best stories too early.
Yeah, and then during the actual episode, we have to pretend we didn't already laugh about everything 5 minutes ago.
Exactly. But honestly, I'm really excited about today's topic because traveling is something that always gives me new energy and inspiration.
Same here. Before we start the main conversation, we just want to say hello to everyone listening right now.
Yes, hello everyone. We're really happy you decided to spend part of your day with us today.
And if you're learning English, we hope this podcast helps you feel more comfortable with natural conversations.
Exactly. And don't worry if you don't understand every single word. That's completely normal when learning a language.
Honestly, even native speakers ask people to repeat things sometimes.
Oh, all the time. Communication is never perfect, even for fluent speakers.
That's such an important thing for learners to understand.
Definitely. A lot of people are afraid to speak because they think their English needs to be perfect first. But honestly, confidence comes from practice, not from waiting.
I completely agree with that. The more conversations you have, the more natural English starts to feel.
Exactly. Your brain slowly gets used to the rhythm, the pronunciation, and the way people connect ideas during conversations.
Which is actually what today's episode is all about, relaxing and listening to a natural discussion.
And hopefully enjoying the conversation at the same time.
So today, we're talking about traveling, different cultures, funny travel experiences, and why traveling can change people so much.
Honestly, I could probably talk about traveling for hours because some of my favorite life memories come from trips.
Same here. I think traveling changes people in ways they don't expect.
I completely agree. Sometimes people think traveling is only about entertainment or taking photos, but I honestly think it can seriously affect your personality and mindset.
That's very true, actually. I noticed that after my first trip abroad. Before traveling, I was much more nervous in unfamiliar situations.
Really?
Yeah, I used to overthink everything. Even small problems felt stressful to me.
Honestly, I can relate to that a lot because I used to be exactly the same way. New situations made me uncomfortable, especially when I was younger.
But traveling kind of forces you to become more independent.
Exactly. You suddenly have to solve problems on your own, communicate with strangers, figure things out in a completely different environment. And after a while, you realize you're actually capable of much more than you thought.
That's honestly one of the biggest benefits of traveling.
Definitely. And I think confidence grows naturally during trips because every small challenge becomes a learning experience.
Even airports can feel stressful at first.
Oh yes, especially international airports. The first time I traveled alone, I was checking the departure board every 5 minutes because I was terrified of missing my flight.
Honestly, I still do that sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. Even when I know I'm at the correct gate, my brain still starts imagining random problems.
Okay. That actually makes me feel much better because I thought I was the only person doing that. Traveling looks glamorous online, but in reality, almost everyone feels stressed sometimes.
That's so true. Social media usually shows only the perfect moments.
Exactly. People post beautiful beaches and fancy hotels, but they never post themselves running through the airport, carrying a backpack, and panicking.
Which I have definitely done before.
Same, honestly.
Have you ever had a really stressful travel situation?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, one of the funniest stories happened to me in Spain.
I already feel like this is going to be good.
So basically, my cousin and I decided to explore small streets away from the tourist area in Barcelona.
Which sounds like a good idea at first.
Exactly. At first, it felt exciting and spontaneous. We were listening to music, taking photos, trying local snacks. Everything felt perfect.
And then something went wrong.
Very wrong. We suddenly realized we had absolutely no idea where we were.
That's the moment when fun turns into stress.
Exactly. And the worst part was that my phone battery was almost dead.
Oh no.
Yeah, we tried opening the map, but literally 1 minute later, my phone turned off completely.
That's honestly one of my biggest travel fears.
Same. At first, we started panicking a little because every street looked unfamiliar, and we couldn't understand where to go.
What did you do?
Eventually, we started asking local people for directions, and honestly, people were incredibly kind.
I've noticed that in many countries, actually, most people genuinely try to help tourists.
Exactly. One older man even walked with us for almost 10 minutes just to show us the correct street.
That's honestly so wholesome.
I know. And weirdly enough, that stressful moment became one of my favorite memories from the trip because it felt real and unexpected.
That happens surprisingly often. The imperfect moments usually become the most memorable stories.
Exactly. Nobody remembers a perfect hotel room forever. People remember chaos, funny mistakes, and emotional moments.
That should honestly be a quote somewhere.
Maybe we should start selling motivational travel t-shirts after this episode?
Honestly, I think people would buy them.
Probably.
What about solo traveling? Have you ever traveled alone?
Yes, actually. I visited Prague alone for 4 days, and honestly, I think it changed me a lot as a person.
Really? In what way?
Well, before that trip, I was always afraid of being alone in unfamiliar places. I thought solo travel would feel lonely or uncomfortable, but the reality was completely different. I became much more open to conversations because I naturally started talking to people around me.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because when you travel with friends, you usually stay inside your group the whole time. But when you're alone, you notice people more, and people notice you more too.
That's a really interesting point, actually.
I met travelers from different countries in cafes, hostels, museums, and some conversations lasted for hours. It made the world feel much more connected somehow.
I love that idea. Traveling really reminds people that the world is much bigger than their normal routine.
Definitely. And honestly, I think people become more emotionally open while traveling too.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know, it's hard to explain. But when people leave their normal environment, they often become more relaxed, spontaneous, and honest during conversations.
That's actually very true.
I remember meeting a girl from Canada in Prague, and we ended up talking for almost 2 hours about life, relationships, work, future plans, things people normally don't discuss with strangers.
And somehow those conversations become unforgettable.
Exactly. Sometimes you never see the person again, but you still remember the conversation years later.
That's honestly one of the most beautiful things about traveling.
I agree. It reminds people how interesting human connections can be.
Another thing I love about traveling is how much it helps with learning English.
Oh, absolutely. Traveling gives people real motivation to communicate.
Exactly. Suddenly, English stops feeling like a school subject and starts feeling useful in real life.
And honestly, I think that changes everything psychologically. When you successfully communicate in another language during a real situation, your confidence grows very quickly.
I remember ordering food in English during one of my first trips abroad, and I felt weirdly proud of myself afterward.
Same. I remember feeling nervous even before simple conversations, like ordering coffee or asking for directions.
But after a few successful interactions, speaking becomes much less scary.
Exactly. And people are usually much more understanding than learners expect.
That's true. Most native speakers don't care if your grammar isn't perfect.
Definitely. Usually they just appreciate that you're trying to communicate.
I honestly think fear stops more people than lack of
I
vocabulary.
completely agree with that. Some people know a lot of English grammar but still avoid speaking because they're afraid of embarrassment.
Meanwhile, confident speakers improve faster because they actually practice.
Exactly. Mistakes are part of the process. Nobody becomes fluent without sounding awkward sometimes.
That's honestly such an important message for listeners.
Definitely. Especially because social media sometimes creates unrealistic expectations about language learning.
Very true. People watch perfectly edited videos and think fluency should happen
But
quickly.
real progress is usually slow and gradual. One day you suddenly realize conversations feel easier than before.
And moments like that feel incredibly rewarding.
Definitely. I think language learning and traveling are actually very connected because both experiences force people outside their comfort zones.
That's such a good observation.
In both situations, you feel nervous at first, but later you grow because of those uncomfortable moments.
And honestly, those experiences often make people mentally stronger too.
Absolutely. Traveling teaches flexibility because things rarely go exactly as planned.
Delayed flights, bad weather, wrong bookings.
Unexpected problems everywhere.
But after solving enough travel problems, everyday life starts feeling easier somehow, which is honestly a very useful life skill.
Definitely.
So let me ask you this. What's your dream destination right now?
Honestly, Japan.
Oh, wow. Same actually.
Really?
Yeah. I've wanted to visit Japan for years.
Same here. I think the culture looks fascinating because it feels so different from Europe.
Exactly. The cities, the food, the traditions, everything seems unique.
And honestly, I think traveling becomes even more exciting when a place feels completely different from your normal environment.
Definitely. That feeling of discovering something new is addictive.
It really is. After a good trip, normal life sometimes feels boring for a few days.
That post-travel sadness is real.
Very real.
You come home, unpack your suitcase, and suddenly everything feels too quiet.
Exactly. And then you immediately start thinking about the next trip.
Which is probably happening to both of us right now.
Honestly, yes. After this conversation, I already want to check flight prices later tonight.
Same here.
But honestly, even short trips can be meaningful. People sometimes think traveling only matters if it's expensive or luxurious, but I completely disagree with that.
I agree. Some of the best memories come from very simple moments.
Exactly. Watching sunsets, sitting in small cafes, walking through unfamiliar streets. Those moments often become more emotional than expensive activities.
I think traveling teaches people to appreciate small things more.
Definitely. Especially nowadays, when people are constantly distracted by phones, work, stress, and notifications.
Traveling kind of reconnects people with real life again.
That's actually a perfect way to describe it.
Well, honestly, this conversation made me want to book a flight somewhere tomorrow.
Same here. I think after this episode, both of us are probably going to spend the evening looking at cheap tickets online.
Most likely.
And hopefully, this conversation also inspired some of our listeners to travel more someday, even if it's just a small trip.
Or maybe inspired them to practice English more confidently.
Exactly. And if you listened to this whole episode, thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
We really hope this podcast helped you relax, improve your English naturally, and maybe learn a few useful expressions along the way.
And remember, you do not need perfect English to start speaking. Confidence grows through practice and real conversations.
Exactly. Keep listening, keep practicing, and most importantly, don't be afraid to communicate.
Thank you again for being here with us today. We truly appreciate your time and support.
Take care, everybody, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye, everyone.